In this lesson, we're going to talk about how do I divide integers. So to start out, we got to remember that we've learned fact families with multiplication and division previously. So you have 5 times 4 is 20, 4 times 5 is 20. Therefore, you know that 20 divided by 4 equals 5, so kind of related to there. And then 20 divided by 5 equals 4. You can do the same thing with multiplying and dividing of integers to come up with division facts for integers. So if we look at this fact family where we have 3 times negative 7 equals negative 21 and negative 7 times 3 equals negative 21. Again, we know that when we multiply integers, when we have a positive and negative, the product's going to be negative. So so we just do 3 times 7 equals 21 and put a negative sign in front of it. Now we go back and we're going to now divide this. So we start with our product, which then becomes our dividend. So we start with negative 21 divided by, and let's pick one of the factors, 3, and it's going to equal the other factor, which is negative 7. We do the same thing again. Negative 21, our dividend, or our product, divided by, this time we're going to do negative 7, and that's going to equal the other factor, which is 3. So, I mean, looking at this, what conclusions could you draw about when you're dividing integers? In this case, I have a negative dividend, a positive divisor, my quotient is negative. Negative dividend, negative divisor, my quotient is positive. Are there any patterns we can notice here? Now we can look at another fact family where we have negative 8 times negative 4 equals 32, negative 4 times negative 8 equals 32. So we have two negative factors, we get a positive product, and then that product turns around and becomes the dividend. Divided by a negative divisor is going to equal a negative quotient. 32 divided by negative 4 equals negative 8. On the other hand, you have 32 divided by negative 8 is going to equal negative 4. It looks as though, whenever we have a negative, either the dividend or the divisor, our quotient's going to be negative. And it looked like up here, when we had two negatives, our quotient was positive. So it looks like it's very similar rules to multiplication, maybe. So what we want to do is try to think of what are the rules now for division? What sign is the quotient if both the dividend and divisor are positive? So that's 21 divided by 3 equals 7. So dividend and divisor are positive. Well, what's my quotient? Oh, it's positive. Okay. So now if I look at just the dividend or divisor negatives, that means one or the other. So negative 21 divided by 3 would equal, let's see, I'd have to multiply by negative 7. So negative 7, that means negative, one of the two is negative, and my quotient was negative, okay? And then finally, both the dividend and divisor are negative. So negative 21 divided by negative 3. In order to get a product of negative 21, I had to multiply 3 by a positive 7. So positive 7 times 3 is times negative 3 is negative 21. So in this case, when I have both my dividend and divisor are negative, my quotient seems to be positive. And again, we're talking here about how do I divide integers through the idea of knowing what we know about multiplication and using fact families.